welcome to today's episode. We are joined by former US Ambassador to Bangladesh, Mr. Dan Mozena. Ambassador Mozena is not only a seasoned diplomat, but also a true friend of Bangladesh. Ambassador, we are very delighted to welcome you to KabitarShathe. How are you doing?
Oh, Kabita, thank you. I am very pleased to be on your show. It's a real honor that you reached out and connected with me. I look forward to having our discussion and to sharing, and through you, sharing thoughts with the good people of Bangladesh.
We know you grew up in a place. So, how did you feel staying there, working there, and what was your?
Well, as you commented, I was born and raised on a small dairy farm, about 50 hectares, in the state of Iowa, which is a big agriculture state. Not a big state. Actually, Bangladesh and Iowa are exactly the same size, except Iowa has 3 million people. Bangladesh is almost 170 million people.
Oh,
But
yeah.
you asked about how a farm boy takes to living in a city. Right now, I live in a city of 6.4 million people. I am a city person. And
Okay.
Kavita, I'm going to ask you, how many foreigners do you know who will tell you and make eye contact with you that they really like Dhaka? I
Oh,
don't know. I am one. I may be the only one. I like Dhaka. Of course, I was pampered. I had drivers and stuff. But, oh, I like Dhaka. And why do I like Dhaka? Why do I like cities? Because they pulse with energy. And everybody knows Dhaka. Just so much energy. And I absorb that energy. And that's why I like cities. New York City, I love New York City. I love just walking the sidewalk. My wife doesn't like to go with me because all I want to do is walk the sidewalk. She wants to go to museums, so we go to museums. But
okay.
I sneak in my sidewalk walking because I get energy from those sidewalks. So
So you get
I'm
the
a
energy from the
city person.
people,
What's that?
basically. You get the energy from the people.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I love it. That I love it.
You love it. So let me ask you a question that as US ambassador to Bangladesh and earlier as political economic counselor, what was your hardest part of your job that you felt doing in Bangladesh? What was the hardest?
Oh, I'll tell you what. The hardest part, and it caused me pain, was that there were so many opportunities to engage in Bangladesh. It was endless opportunities to engage. But the day only has 24 hours in it, and you would have to say no. Oh, no, I can't come. I remember when I left Bangladesh in Christmas time of 2014. Whoa, so many people were upset with me. And they said, "What? You didn't give us a time to have a farewell."
Oh,
I had 5 weeks. I said maximum 5 weeks of farewells, and usually 5 events a day:
mhm.
breakfast, lunch, afternoon, reception, and dinner. I was exhausted, but it would could have gone on for 5 months, and I felt bad because some of my good friends, oh, you didn't give us the time. Well, that's just an example of what it's like to work in Bangladesh. And it just it allows you, it enables you to engage with people. And of course, that's what I like so much, and that's the magic of Bangladesh.
So you didn't feel anything like it was very challenging for you to work in Bangladesh. while you were there as an ambassador?
Yeah, it was challenging to say no. I hated that. I hated that.
Okay, that was the challenging thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. That's not my personality. I want to say yes, especially to Bangladeshi people. You want to say yes.
So, you have traveled all over the Bangladesh, and in your view, how has the country changed economically and politically over the past 30 years? Do you have any favorite memories of memories to share?
Oh, my first time in Bangladesh. Let's see, when was that? 1998 to 2001. I was, like you said, I was a political econ counselor.
Mhm.
And then I was ambassador from 2011 to the very last days of 2014. And as you mentioned, during that time, I was able to visit all 64 districts. I'm very proud of that, actually. But oh, I learned so much. But to speak directly to your question, I saw these very eyes right here looking at you, saw the unbelievable changes in Bangladesh. Oh, because I'm a farmer
Mhm.
by background, I was so impressed by the changes in agriculture. Do you know that mechanization in Bangladesh, when I was there, and of course I left when I left in 2014, that's 11 years ago, was over 80% mechanized. What? Over 80%. And I imagine it's higher now. And Bangladesh, now listen to this, the most densely populated non-city state country in the world. So I'm not talking about Singapore. When it has a good year, good harvest, no cyclone,
Mhm.
can feed itself, can feed 165, 166 million people. Please be impressed. And so that's the kind of thing I saw. And with that mechanization, in the old days, I remember going around, they would have to leave a land fallow because they didn't have the labor to manually plow and plant and harvest that land. And now they don't have to do it. They have access to fertilizers, and they can keep that land producing. So I was really impressed by the changes of agriculture development. I was impressed by the health.
Healthcare.
Oh, the health care. When you look at the impact of family planning and how Bangladesh's population in just 25 more years is going to level out and then slowly start declining. Why? Because of family planning. Oh, I was so impressed with that. And the drops.
Education. Mhm.
What's that?
And about education also, I like to hear from you.
Oh, education. But I wanted to finish on healthcare because
Sure, sure, sure.
it's
Go
such
ahead.
a story to tell. The decline in maternal mortality over 60%, the decline of child under five mortality over 60%. Think of what I'm saying. The massive reductions of infectious diseases, the diarrheal diseases, the respiratory diseases. You know, I was in and out of hospitals and clinics everywhere. And
Mhm.
and the wards, instead of being jammed with five people in a bed, were basically empty during what should have been the time for diarrheal disease. I think about disaster preparedness. One of the things I'm most proud about is opening, cutting the ribbon on these massive cyclone shelters that America helped Bangladesh build, because those saved thousands and thousands of lives. And,
Mhm.
when you look at it, in 1970, I know, everybody knows,
Mhm.
hundreds of thousands of Bangladeshis were killed in a horrific cyclone. Nobody knows how many, 500,000, 600,000, 700,000, I don't know, enormous number. And now, in more recent years, equally huge cyclones have hit, and maybe 15 people die.
Yes,
Think,
that's the
just
preparedness. Mhm.
think about that. Oh, and then you mentioned education. Oh, I visited these brat schools because America would help
In
with.
Kumilla.
Yeah. Oh, and there are many places else. And oh my goodness, these schools are just dazzling because they're giving these little kids the start down a path. You don't know where the path will go, but it's a path for a brighter future. Oh my goodness. There's so many things. And the decline of poverty. Oh, and my favorite memories. You asked me my favorite memories. I wasn't going to forget that because you know what my favorite memories were? And I loved going to villages
Mhm.
and chatting with farmers and villagers. I loved when farmers would put their arm on my shoulder and lead me to their fields. And we go into their fields and they show me their rice field or whatever it was. Oh, I felt I was back on the farm in Iowa. It just made my heart surge. Those, I would say that's my very best memory of all. Just wonderful memory.
Thank you. Thank you. So you were born in Iowa, you were, and raised
Yes.
there.
Yeah.
Okay. I had been there. I
Have you been to
stayed there.
Iowa? Oh,
Yes, I love that place. It was beginning of our journey in USA. So
oh,
I lived
nice.
there.
Nice.
Yes.
I'm glad. I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad you had a good experience.
I do not know if you want to talk about this, but I have a question for you. That there are many concern about Trump's trade and tariff policies. Now that things are shifting, lowering the tariff, how do you say garments industry can benefit in Bangladeshi garments factory from here? This
Well,
tariff thing.
I have to just remind you and your listeners that I speak today as a private citizen.
Mhm.
I am not a government employee, so I can say anything I want, but I don't represent anyone other than
Right.
myself. So I just want to clarify that for
Yes, I
everyone.
like to hear your opinion for
But
my audience.
but
Mhm.
my personal opinion is on these tariffs, we honestly don't know yet because what's going to happen right now? 39%. I mean, that's huge. But where will it end up? Will it end up at 10%? Will it end up at 0%? Will it end up at 39% or higher? I'll be honest, nobody, including President Trump, I'm going to wager, nobody knows. But I give Professor Yunus, I give the government of Bangladesh, I give the businessmen of Bangladesh high marks because they're trying to sort this out. They're trying to see what it is uh, America's trying to achieve vis-a-vis Bangladesh with these tariffs.
Mhm.
Well, President has been clear. He's trying to balance better the trade, and you know, Bangladesh's exports are more than almost triple what
Mhm.
it imports from the United States. So Yunus and his interim government, they're exploring ways that Bangladesh could import more cotton. You know, last year it imported $381 million worth of cotton. Well, maybe it can double, triple, quadruple that amount. I know they're trying to simplify the procedures. There used to be something that drove me crazy, the requirement to fumigate American cotton. Why? There was no reason for it. And I tried to get that removed. It did not happen. But now there's a big incentive to get that removed. So American cotton, which is very high quality, almost as good as Egypt's, but just not quite, because Egypt is hand picked, Americans machine picked, but it's still Pima cotton. And so I think that's an area. Bangladesh could buy more oil. Bangladesh could buy more gas from America. So it's good to explore these avenues and try to bring some equilibrium or greater equilibrium to the trade. And maybe that would be a way to uh, address the president's concerns on trade. And excuse me. So that's what I hope. That's my hope.
Thank you. Bangladesh has about 175 million people. What changes you like to see in healthcare and environmental policies to improve human conditions development? Since you were there, you know,
Oh
like,
yeah,
and what, yeah.
the the challenges from the environment are enormous, and they threaten within a matter of a decade to force 20 plus million Bangladeshis to move out because their homes will go underwater because of the rising Bay of Bengal. So the challenge for Bangladesh and its friends, including America, is how to deal with the impact of climate change, the rising Bay of Bengal. And it will not be easy. Well, one thing, as the prospect for more severe weather grows, then uh, Bangladesh has to keep building cyclone shelters and keep protecting its people, keep establishing early warning systems so people have time to get to the cyclone shelters and bring their animals. People won't leave their homes if they can't bring their animals. And the cyclone shelters are designed to protect the animals too. It's very smart. So that has to continue. There has to be continued work on saline tolerant seeds like rice varieties. And I'm very proud that America, when I was out there, I went out to the Agricultural Research Center several times to see the work being done by Bangladeshi scientists with American assistance to develop these saline tolerant rice varieties and flood tolerant rice varieties. So these things are very important. It's very important to establish and maintain marshes and wetlands and forests as a buffer between the rising levels of the Bay of Bengal and the land. You got to protect the land, and so I'm really into this. But there are so many other things that also need to be done. And I would, you mentioned environmental. To me, that includes air pollution. Uh,
How can we improve this situation? It's getting worse day by day.
Well, there are things to do. You can electrify vehicles. You can the tuk-tuks are burning the filthiest fuel, and they've made some transition to CNG. I think that kind of thing is good. I'm pleased to see the mass transit that is emerging. I hope that will help. But there are standards for pollution from buses and cars and tuk-tuks. They need to be enforced. And of course, we know they're not, and we also know why they're not. And that needs to be dealt with. Water pollution needs to be dealt with. In that regard, I'm very pleased to see some of the tanning industries have moved out of old Dhaka, right downtown. And they've gone north into new and modern facilities. I visited the old tanneries downtown. They're disgusting.
Oh, yeah.
They're just disgusting. And I visited the new ones, and I saw the sewage treatment plants and things like that. So that's encouraging. But those are all just starts. There's so much more to do. And then, of course, I was the ambassador during Rana Plaza. And so factory safety is something that I'm very focused on. And I think the country needs to keep pushing and pushing to make sure more and more factories come up to international structural standards so that they're safe. 1,100 people died at Rana Plaza. That was horrific. So those are just a few of my ideas. But you look at healthcare. You asked about healthcare. I
Mhm,
think need to sustain what we're doing now, and and just don't let it backslide, because sometimes people lose focus or something, and don't let that happen, because Bangladesh sets the global standard for success in defeating out of control
mhm.
population growth and infectious disease and maternal mortality. I talked about
Mhm.
that, child under five mortality.
Yes,
These
we did.
are historic, and they
Mhm.
must be safeguarded.
Like to hear about the Rohingya situation also. Um, if you were there, what will be your, what would have been your suggestions, or how would you work with this situation that millions of Rohingya refugees are in Bangladesh?
Well,
So,
there
yeah.
were a lot of Rohingya refugees in Bangladesh during my time. I visited the camps on numerous occasions.
Mhm,
Whew, that's tough. It's also going to be tough to imagine a situation
mhm,
where the Rohingya can safely return to Myanmar, Burma, and resume living there. There's so much hatred. They used to live side by side,
mhm,
and that happened for centuries. But
mhm.
now, the slaughter of innocent Rohingya, the destruction of their villages, the rape of their women, the murdering of these innocent people, you can't forget that. You can't pretend it didn't happen.
Happen.
It did happen, as you know and I know. And so, how do people go back to this cauldron of hatred?
Mhm.
I'll be honest, I'm not sure it can happen. It certainly can't happen uh, in the near, medium, and some people would argue not even the long term. So what to do? These camps cannot be sustained. If you visit these camps, oh my God, you're just asking for trouble. Um, so I think a good number of the Rohingya, at the end of the day, will likely need to be incorporated into Bangladesh. And then I think the international community, including America and
China.
and China, so many other countries, I think all of us have to help Bangladesh and take thousands of these refugees and help resettle them. I just don't see any other way. But they cannot continue to live like they're living now. It's subhuman. It's subhuman. But that's not a. It's easy for me to say what I just said. That's very easy. But to do that, that's not so easy.
Yeah, we don't see any bright future is coming. So
It'll be tough.
it will be very tough. With that, um, I would like to ask you a few personal questions.
Oh, before you do that, I just have to talk about what has happened in Bangladesh since I left. Something so historic has happened, and you know what I'm talking about: the July Revolution, the August 4 events. Wow, wow. So this is Bangladesh doing one more time what it's done, what, at least three other times in its history. Uh, uh, Overthrowing an authoritarian leadership and working to uh, change that to a more democratic one. And you know, and I know, and your listeners know that those earlier occasions didn't end well because we saw despots coming back in. So this time, I pray Bangladesh will get it right. And so I hope people will give Professor Yunus and his team the time they need to create and sell to the people and
Mhm.
then implement political reform and other reform to set the stage for free and fair
Mhm.
elections, but elections that will deliver a democracy that's sustainable, so we don't have another despot back in 18 months governing the place. And that will be very hard to do. But I I have confidence in the people of Bangladesh. This time they're going to get it right on a sustained way, and we'll see Bangladesh. Uh, we'll see democracy take root in Bangladesh and flourish in Bangladesh, because that's the kind of people Bangladeshis are. They, you go. I've lived in many places in the world, and I wouldn't say this about every place, but I say it about Bangladesh. People want their democracy. They want their
Of
freedom.
course.
They
Yes.
want the right to succeed economically. They want prosperity. They want education for their kids. That's what Bangladeshis are. And they know that you need a democracy to have those things. So
So
I
you
just
are
want to say
hopeful. You are hopeful that
I,
it
I
will.
am hopeful. I know it will not be easy. I definitely know it will not be easy. It will be tough. And people are impatient. They want to go fast. Some people say elections have to be by December. Other people say June. December, June, that's 6 months. On the grand scale of things, forget about that. Have the elections when the reforms are in place, when the conditions are there for free, fair, meaningful, participatory elections. Sort out how you're going to involve the former members of the Awami League. They don't disappear. They're there. They have to have some avenue for them to participate. I don't know what that is, but it has to be something. Uh, so it's going to be tough, but
It's good.
I'm
Yes.
hopeful.
You hope so.
Yes, I am.
Since you brought this up, I just like to ask you. It's been like almost 1 year.
Yeah.
It will be 1 year in July. So, what do you see the progress? Did this interim government made any kind of progress?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely made progress. It's not perfect. The challenges are real, but the economy has stabilized. Reserves, to my understanding, are growing. Exports are continuing, and they're going on. Um, it's a tough beat. Law and order situation is much improved, even though the need remains for a more effective police force, but still law and order has improved. The Army is playing a supportive role, uh, and that's so. These are all positive developments that leave me very encouraged. But it's a tough road. I do not diminish the challenges. I just hope people, I hope political parties, I hope political actors are patient and don't jump the gun. Wait till the real reforms are in place. So these are credible elections. Like I said before, participatory elections.
Mhm. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. So we heard all about your career and about Bangladesh. We'll have to end our conversation right here. And thank you
Yeah.
for joining me. Thank you for sharing your stories, your wisdom, and your enduring love for Bangladesh. That's
Well,
very rare. And your presence truly um, enriched our conversation.
you're
Thank you
welcome.
so much.
I'm looking forward to going to Bangladesh in mid-November, so I'll get to see the new Bangladesh for my.
New Bangladesh. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes. Thank you
Good
so
to see
much.
you.
And
Goodbye, Kabita.
okay. Bye bye.